All right, this is the middle of page 82. This is the guided practice. And we're going to review how to multiply fractions. This first video is just going to be numbers 1 through 10. The next video will be the add and subtract problems. So let's check this out, okay? If you forgot how to do this, if I'm doing instruction here and it doesn't make sense in your brain, it's a good idea to go back and rewatch the videos for page 80 is when we first introduced to you how to multiply. It might even be page 79. It's page 79 we first introduced how to multiply fractions. So if you forgot this, go back and review because it's really important to get this straight in your brain. Okay. So we're on number 1 and the problem is 1/2 times 5/8. And do you remember that when we multiply fractions, we can multiply just the numerator straight across. We can just go 1 times 5, which is 5. And we can go 2 times 8, which is 16. And if 5 and 16 don't share a factor, which they don't, then that's the answer. The correct answer to number 1 is 5/16. I typically like horizontal fraction bars, but when you don't have a lot of space, you can do kind of a diagonal one. All right, let's check out number 2. It is 3/5 times 5/9. Now this is a great one to remember that you don't just have to multiply right now. Some kids would multiply and they would do 3 times 5 is 15 and they would do 5 times 9 is 45 and then you got to simplify, which you may or may not be able to do. Let me show you what you could do right here. You could simplify right now. Since 5 and 5 share a factor of 5, you could simplify that to 1 and 1. Both 5 and 5 are divisible by 5, so they'll simplify to 1. So now these become 1s, and 3 and 9 share a factor as well. 3 goes into itself once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So look at how simple that is. All I have left is 1 times 1, which is 1, and 1 times 3, which is 3. The answer is 1/3. If you disagree with that answer, I'm thinking it's because you're not simplifying. The answer is 1/3. And I don't like how I wrote that, so I'm going to make that a little bit neater. I think I just need to make it look like this. 1/3. All right, let's check out number 3. It's 3/8 times 2/5. And I'm going to continue to simplify ahead of time. I think that's easier. 3 and 5 don't share a factor, but 2 and 8 do. 2 goes into itself once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. And now I have 1 times 3, which is 3, and 4 times 5, which is 20. Now if you didn't simplify, you would have gotten 6/40, which simplifies to 3/20. That is the correct answer, 3/20. All right, number 4. This is our first one where we need to review what to do when we have a whole number. 2 and 3/8 times, and a whole number and a mixed number. Do you remember what to do? Well, on every problem we've had so far, in fact, I'm going to use an example over here. On every problem we've had so far in 1 through 3, we had a numerator over a denominator and a numerator over a denominator, and it was really pretty simple. We just multiplied straight across. We don't have that for number 4, but I can make it really simple. Check this out, especially on 16. 16 is the same as 16 over 1. Now I have a numerator and a denominator. This one's a tiny bit harder, but it's not that bad. Check this out. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 is 19. This is equivalent to 19 over 8. Denominator stays. Now I have the structure I need. I have a numerator, a denominator, a numerator, a denominator, so I can get rid of this. And now I do the same thing I've been doing. I could multiply my numerators, but I'd get such a big number there. So I'm going to examine and see if anything simplifies. 19 and 1, they don't simplify. They don't share a factor other than 1. What about 16 and 8? Oh yeah, they definitely share a factor. 8 goes into itself once, and 8 goes into 16 twice. I just saved myself a bunch of complicated simplifying later. So that's really should be motivation for you to simplify ahead of time. It's faster. 19 times 2, according to my multiplication chart, is 38. 1 times 1 is 1. We don't write our answer as 38 over 1. We just write it as the whole number 38. We've got number 5. Again, I want to remind you we're looking for a numerator, a denominator, and a denominator. So number 5, we're given half of that. Our second fraction is 5 over 12. But our first fraction needs to be just a numerator and a denominator. So what do? Well, what I did before was I made an improper fraction by going 1 times 5 is 5, plus 4 is 9, 9 over 5. Now I can simplify. Check out how easy this is. Some kids really struggle with this, but check out how easy this is. 5 and 5 share a factor of 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 9 and 12 share a factor of 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Really, this when I'm doing this 9 and this 12 right here, I'm dividing this one by 3 because it's divisible by 3, and I'm dividing this one by 3. And I get 3, and I get 4. That's how it simplifies to 3 and 4. And the reason why that's so easy is now all I have to do is 3 times 3, 1 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. The answer is 3/4. The last one looks more complicated than it really is. This is really just like number 4 was earlier. I've got 1 and 2/10, which is 1 times 10 is 10, plus 2 is 12. This one's 12/10. And I've got, this one's going to be 5/1, so I'm going to write it as 5/1. You've got a lot of simplifying to do here. I could do 5 times 10, or I'm sorry, I'm simplifying 5 and 10. 5 and 10 are each divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And I still have 12 and 2 to simplify. If I just, watch, I'll just go straight across. What's 12 times 1? That's 12. And 2 times 1, that's 2. And that's an improper fraction. So I just divide 12 divided by 2. That's 6. It's 6 whole. The answer is 6. Okay, we're going to do the word problems, or they're kind of word problems right below. I think you'll be impressed at how easy they are. They might seem complicated to you for some reason, but I think you'll be impressed at how easy they are. And these are all, they still multiply. So check this out. It doesn't look like it, but it is. I'm going to try and teach you something here about these word problems. So we're going to do this section right here, find each amount. And if they look complicated to you, I just pay good attention here, okay? So number 7 is 1/4 of 12 water bottles. And what you may or may not know is that of in this setting is to multiply. 1/4 of 12 is the same thing 1/4 times 12. So right off the bat, when you see that in a word problem, we could go through now. Instead of on number 8 finding 2/3 of 24, we're going to do 2/3 times 24. We're going to do 3/4 times 40. We're going to do 5/6 times 18. Now if you think, well, that's still complicated, well, each of these whole numbers can be written as a fraction over 1. So number 7, we just make this a fraction over 1. And if you don't like simplifying ahead of time, watch how easy this still is. 1 times 12 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3 whole. The answer is 3 wholes. Check out number 8. It's 2/3 times 24 is a whole number, so I write it as 24/1. I like simplifying. I don't want to do 2 times 24 is 48/3. I don't like doing that. I'd rather simplify. This is simple to simplify right now. 3 and 24 can simplify by 3. 3 divided by itself is 1. 3 goes into 24 8 times, so it simplifies to 1 and 8. And now look at my denominator. It's going to be 1, which I can just drop. And my numerator is going to be 2 times 8. That's 16. 16/1 is 16. Number 9, I've got 3/5 of means times. $40 is the same as 40/1. I could do the complicated way and do 3 times. I could do 3 times 40 and get 120/5, and then 120 divided by 5. I don't really like doing that. I like to simplify. 40 and 5 simplify very easily. 40 and 5 are each divisible by 5. If I divide each of those terms by 5, I get 1 and 8. And my denominator will be 1. My numerator will be 24. The answer is 24/1, which is 24. Number 10 is 5/6 of, which means times, 18, which is 18/1. 6 goes into itself once. 6 goes into 18 3 times. Denominator is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 3 is 15. 15/1 is the same as 15. All right, I bet you're getting better at this. Good job on page 82. The next video will be the addition problems on page 82. Good job.